Good afternoon, students. Welcome to today's class. Today we'll still look at multiplication strategies, but our main focus is going to be on word problem. So we have three examples on the board that we're going to look at to understand how we can deal with multiplication strategies. So I want you to join me and let's go through the three examples that we have on our board, okay? So let's look at the first one. The first one says that an octopus has 8 legs and Kelly counted 5 octopi in the tank. So how many legs are there in the tank? So what are we talking about? We are talking about the legs of the octopi, okay? One octopus is having 8. So if Kelly is counting 5 of them, it means that we have to do some multiplications to know the number of total legs that we have in the tank, okay? So let's see. So first of all, we have 1 is having 8 legs, and then there are 5 octopi in the tank. So we have to multiply here by 5. So which means we have our expression, which is going to turn into an equation. So this will give us what? Will give us 40. Okay. So which means that there will be 40 legs in the tank in total. Okay. Because 8, which is for one octopus, and then we count 5 of them, we multiply by 5, and then we have 40 of the legs inside the tank. This looks very simple, but when the figures are more, you know how you can always calculate them. Okay, very good. So let's see our second example. The second example says that Vero owns 17 pairs of socks, okay? How many socks does she have in all? So the confusing word that most students might find it difficult to understand will be the pair. So what is a pair? So when we say a pair, it means 2. So if Vero is having 17 pairs, it means that it is 17 times 2, because pair means that 2, okay? So the 17 will come first, and then we multiply by 2. So the 2 will represent the pair that Vero is having. So let's do the calculation and then we see. So in your usual calculation, you have to multiply 2 by 7, and that will give you 14. So we put the 4 here, and then we multiply 2. So this will be carry 1. 2 times 1 will give us 2, plus our 1 here, so that will give us 3. So in all, we will have 34 socks in there, but there are 17 pairs. So when we put all together, we will have 34. But when we put them in pairs, it becomes 17. So whenever you hear the word pairs, we are dealing with 2s, okay? Which means 2. You multiply like that. Okay, let's see our final example, which is the third one. Eric and his family eats 2 loaves of bread a day. So in each day, they eat 2 loaves of bread. Each loaf has 6 slices. That means one of the loaves comes with 6 slices, but they eat 2 every day. How many slices of bread do Eric and his family eat in 4 days? So now we are seeing 2, we are seeing 6, and we are seeing 4. So the first thing that we have to do is that we have to know how many slices that we're going to get in 2 loaves, okay? So we'll multiply our 2 loaves by 6 slices, and that will give us 12. So which means this 12 is the number of slices in 2 loaves, okay? Now the question is, how many slices of bread do Eric and the family eat in 4 days? So we know that in 2 of the breads that they eat, it comes with 12 slices. So each day they eat 12 slices, and they are eating for 4 days. So you bring your 12 and then you multiply by 4, which is the number of days that they eat this kind of bread. Okay, so now we multiply 4 by 2 and that will give us 8. And then 4 multiplied by 1, that will give us 4. So in total, or in 4 days, they will be eating 48 slices of bread. Okay, so always try to understand the question, that the question is not asking you about the number of bread that they eat, but the question is asking you about the number of slices that they eat for 4 days. Okay, so these are the examples that we will do for this video or this session about multiplication strategy dealing with word problem. I'll send your task one for you through the Telegram post, and then we'll continue to our video 2. So I'll see you in the second video. Hello students, welcome to our second video. Our topic is multiplication strategies. In our first video we did 3 examples that will take you through your tasks. So on this video too, we are doing 2 examples that will also help you to go through your tasks that you have for the day. Okay, so let's see our first example that we have. The first example says that Eric owns 12 pairs of sunglasses. Alan owns 3 times more than Eric owns. Okay, so this is a comparative statement between Eric and that of Alan. They all have pairs of glasses, but Eric is having only 12 pairs, and then Alan is having 3 times more than what Eric is having. How many pairs of sunglasses does Alan own? Okay, so we will go through this example systematically so that you will understand them. Okay, so let's put Eric here. So we have Eric here. Eric is having 12 pairs. Okay, and then let's look at Alan. Alan is having 3 times more. Okay, so that means if we put 12 pairs plus 12 pairs plus 12 pairs plus another 12 pairs. So how many pairs do you see here? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 12 sets of pairs here. So that means this 12 will cancel that of Eric's pairs. So the extra 3 that we have here becomes the extra 3 times more that Alan is having as compared to that of Eric. Okay, so if that is the case, what we have to do is that we have to multiply 12 by 4. Okay, and that will give us 48. That means Alan is having 48 pairs of sunglasses. Okay, so I want you to note this word. The word says 3 times more. That means there is an extra of 3 times more as compared to what Eric is having. Sometimes there's a confusion between 3 times and 3 times more. Okay, so but this question says that 3 times more. That means when you put it together, after one has cancelled this one, there will be an extra 3 more, which is the excess that when you compare Eric to that of Alan, you will have. So please note this one seriously. Okay, let's go to our second example. Our second example says that Linda makes 3 sweaters a day. So okay, when we say sweaters, like clothes, she sews 6 buttons onto each sweater and that she makes. How many bottoms will she sew in 3 days? So each day she sews 3 sweaters, and within the 3 sweaters she puts in 6 bottoms. And then in 3 days, how many bottoms will she put in these clothes? So the first thing that you have to do is that you have to look at how many bottoms will she make for these 3 sweaters. So that is going to give us 3 multiplied by 6, okay? And that is going to give us 18. So we have 18 here being the bottom that she makes for a day. Is that all right? So if that's the case, if you want to know for the 3 days that she's been making, it means you have to multiply 18 by 3. Right? Okay, so now let's see. You multiply your 3 by 8, you get 24, okay? So you put your 4 here, and you have 2 here. You multiply your 3 by 1, which is 3, plus 2, that will give you 5. So in all, she is making 54 bottoms in 3 days. Okay, so always take the first numbers together, and then you build your equations up to the final answer that you will get. Okay, I hope this has gone very well with you, and you'll be able to do your task that is going to be posted to you in the Telegram account. So I'll see you in the final video so that we can finish this lesson. Bye. Students, welcome to our final video on our lesson multiplication strategy. On our first and second video, we handled 2 examples and other examples that I'm sure has helped you to complete your task successfully. There are things that I want you to remember, especially on this particular example, that you always have to know the difference between 3 times of a figure and 3 times more of a figure, okay? So whenever you see 3 times more, it means that after the first has cancelled that of the other one, it means you have extra 3 that will also follow suit for you. In a situation whereby you have 3 mixed numbers together, that means you have to look for 3 sweaters that is coming with 6 bottoms, and then in 3 days how many bottoms in total that could also be made on these sweaters. Please, you take it step by step so that you don't confuse yourself, okay? You take your 3 sweaters by 6 bottoms on each, and then you take your 3 days by the number of bottoms that you can make on each day, and that is going to give you your final figure of the day. Okay, so in this case we will conclude by homework that will be posted to you as well for you to finish and send to me before our next week class. I would like to thank you on these notes for joining class, and I hope that you stay home and be safe. So I'll see you next week. Goodbye.